Hello, namaskar. I love this song. I am a conqueror because it speaks to the triumph of the human spirit. I can say I won't accept defeat because I believe in a power that is greater than my own. And it is that belief that allows me to be on this stage today. You may call it intellectual, divine intelligence. You may call it universal mind. I call it God. In the entertainment world, if you can act, dance, and sing, you're considered a triple threat. In the rest of the world, if you are disabled, black, and female, you are triple threatened. In today's political climate, the key word is diversity. As a person living in an intersection of three marginalized identities, I often wonder where I fit in. As a woman with a disability, I'm considered invisible. As a black woman with a disability, despite a long and successful career in the creative arts, I'm not even considered. When I enter a room in my wheelchair, I never know what the occupants will see first, my disability, my blackness, or my gender. It's rare that they see beyond the ism vortex and just see me. Do you see me? Because I see you. I've had the privilege a few years ago of doing an event with Temple Medical School. They had just opened a brand new medical school, and we were the first big event outside of their opening. So as I rolled up there with my 2 support team, I go to the security guard and I say, "Hi, my name is Crystal Emery, and I'm here to see Beth." The guard looks at me before I could finish the sentence and says, "Excuse me, you're in the wrong building." And I said, "Excuse me?" She said it again. "The clinic is 3 blocks down the street." I said, "Okay, let's start all over, and I'm gonna introduce myself. My name is Crystal Emery, and I'm here to see Beth Kalinsky." The lady said, "No one by that name works here," and then gave me attitude and said, "I'm trying to help you. The clinic is 3 blocks down the street." Now, being Crystal, I had to take 10 deep breaths, and then I had to take 20, because I didn't want to get up out the wheelchair and smack her. So understand that I was looking at 2 security guards, 1 male, 1 female, and they were looking at me like, "Why are you here?" So I took those deep breaths and I said, "Look at the poster right there." And just as I said that, it was like a movie. You heard these clicks coming down the hallway, and it was Beth. And Beth comes over and greets me, "Crystal, we're so glad you're here. And I know you're always on time, so I wanted to come down and meet you to make sure you didn't have any problems." The security guards looked at me, looked at Beth, and then what came out of their mouth was, "Oh, Beth, I didn't realize she was coming to see you." I said to Beth, "There's a lot of problems up in here." I turned to the security guards and I said, "You see that poster next to you, 5 feet high, 3 feet wide? You see that name on the poster? It says Crystal R. Emery." I turned to Beth and said, we need to talk about this. Now, what is amazing about this story is the next day, and I told Beth, you know, you need to talk to your people because this was unacceptable, you know, and I couldn't figure out what part of me rolling up in there had determined that I should be at the clinic. So the next day, when we were doing the project, the 2 security guard supervisors came to speak to me and apologized that there was some mistake, that I had not clearly identified who I was. And my response was, dude, do you realize you just added insult to injury? I clearly identified who I was and who I was there to meet. My question to him was, what is the real problem here? If I was an able-bodied white male, would I have been treated with the same disrespect? My existence at the intersection of 3 marginal identities is like a collision. It's a crash. These 3 societal negatives are often in conflict with the dominant culture norm. As an African-American female with a disability, a wheelchair-riding quadriplegic, I exist as a triple threat to our society's norm concept of white male able-bodied. The work that I produce affects policies and belief systems and encourages others to allow their light to shine. So why don't you allow my light to shine? I am always challenged about the authorship of my work. And this is really funny. Okay. Is Martin Scorsese, whoop, I said his name wrong. Let's say Al Pacino, challenged about his acting abilities? So why am I always challenged? Oh, did you write that script? Oh, did you write that story? Oh, did you direct that film? The physical picture of me does not match the perceived notions of someone who looks at my work and thinks what that person is capable of. I will not allow someone else's definition of my capableness to define who I am. I will not. I will not allow it because you have an issue trying to find a compartment that I fit in. I am neither circled nor pegged. I am not and cannot be defined by other people's limitations. Now, this is how I define myself. I am a space being on an intergalactic journey. I have stopped off on planet Earth to understand the relationship between spirit and form. I choose this body, this gender, as my earthly spacesuit to assist in that understanding. In truth, my true identity is energy, 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 energy in motion. And I would have went faster, but I'm afraid that I might end up in your lap. So how do we bring about a new paradigm? How do you minimize the barriers so that it's less of an issue of what I look like? It's about educating, understanding, compassion, and reality, and success of those who have achieved against all odds. And so each of the speakers today, in their own right, has succeeded against all odds. And it is what TEDx is doing in educating people about different ways to look at the world. I ask you to look at people differently, without your bias. Start off with, I see you, and see them as who they are. Don't see them as who you think they should be or who you want them to be, but see them as they are. Differences are deceiving, and because a person is different from you, it does not mean that they are not capable of achieving the same goals that you have, and even greater. As I often say, we did not get here overnight, and we're not going to get out of here overnight. What we have to do is to make incremental changes in our approaches and our sensitivity towards those who are different, towards each other. One of my favorite reasons for making the film Black Women in Medicine is to educate and make incremental changes. That is my contribution. This thing is not going to happen in a revolution. It is going to happen in evolution. And that is why I make films, I tell stories. It is my contribution to change. I want to have an impact that is lasting and have a continuous impact on society. And so this is what I'm doing with my life. My question to you, what are you trying to do incrementally with your life? Each person in this room is a change agent, not by what you do, but by your very existence on the planet Earth. I believe ordinary people can do extraordinary things. How do we take off our blinders and change the limited view into an understanding of unlimited goodness and beauty? How do we make a better world to hold all the Adam and Eves and their countless generations? Join me, TEDx, the other people in this room, towards healing the wounds in our country and becoming better human beings. Namaskar.